Everything's working, everything's set. Welcome, Mr. Amir. How are you?
Good, buddy. Thanks for having me.
So this is the first podcast that we're doing. I mean, like it's gonna sound like very unnatural, to be honest. But it's the first one of the many that we're gonna record in the future.
This is my fifth attempt of making a podcast. So a lot of the times people, especially within our age, they want to think about, yo, what's the next best thing that I can do? What's the next problem that I can solve to become rich, or the next thing? I always thought, I'm like, yo, what's a problem that's very complex that you can simplify? The more you can simplify something and optimize the process, that in itself is a selling tool.
Yeah.
This is my fifth attempt of making a podcast, so fifth
Is
time
it
to try.
any of them on like online right now?
One of them was online, so one of them we invested maybe like 3 months in, and then at the last second he just didn't like his voice, so we never went public.
Yeah.
Second one, we did 4 months of going with 3 people, going from like Scarborough to Etobicoke. We had everything. We even made like gear, swag, everything like that. At the last second, one of our guys flopped.
Yeah.
And then the third one, and then the rest of them, they all flopped like in the production. So whatever.
So for those that don't know, actually, me and Amir work in the same dealership at Yorkdale Fine Cars. You can see we're over here. And what I do over here is I manage, the marketing and everything that we do for social media.
He's the social media god.
Oh, put the link in the bio and everything. So I wanted to like start off everything. So by starting from like the car grass with car sales and everything. So how has it been so far for you?
So I think the transition from me going into car sales has been a lot more smoother than I thought. At first I feel like for any person who wants to start into the industry or wants to kind of start into going to something that has no base salary and that's strictly commission, it might come off as a little bit overwhelming, obviously, or stressful, or, the fear of, you not having positive cash flow for a month might turn people off. But I feel like by nature, there's 2 types of people: the people who react with, in a fear of flight moment, or people who want to be a little bit more, what's the right word? They have to have a little bit more of a backup plan and everything like that for them to succeed.
Yeah, right.
Thankfully, I was more of a fight or flight type of person, so my instincts kicked in. But I've also been, a lot of around a lot of my good friends who supported me a lot, so
Yeah.
I've been really thankful in that.
And how do you say like marketing plays in the game of like cars?
Oh, huge. So ironically, I was a person who was like off the grid. I had no social media. I had no Instagram. I had no Snapchat. I had no TikTok, no Twitter. I didn't believe in any of that. I thought that everything should have been like word of mouth and referrals. And I was one of those people where I thought your work should speak for itself. And then what you did here with the marketing and you did with the Instagram really motivated me and influenced me to make an Instagram, make videos, kind of step out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I really realized and enjoyed the fruits of the labor because I got a bunch of referrals from Instagram themselves, from the videos themselves, and it's good because
just
your
goes on and on.
creativity sparks, and when your creativity sparks, everything else is kind of like in the engine, kind of just triggers. So it's like well-oiled machine. Absolutely.
And we're aiming to actually do like millions of views. Our last video that we did, it hit 4 point something millions of views for Yorkdale.
4.7. I was not the face of it.
Yeah, you're not face of it.
I was not the face of the video, but it's at Yorkdale, when
It's chain of reactions.
yeah, and anyone does well, it's a team environment. So, kudos to you for making that video. Not only the acting was impeccable, but also the videography, the shots and the angles that you took. I think it's second to none. So
Yeah.
you might be this Christopher Nolan of the social media marketing.
So I wanted really to start with like social media and talking about marketing, and then like transitioning into like other topics that we have. I've been doing marketing for a while, but overall, I think the social media and the marketing world is changing. Like in the last 5 years, we've seen everything. How have you seen it like in the last 5 years? How everything's like changing in the marketing space?
So again, it's an interesting perspective in from my eyes, because I came from someone who was a very anti-believer
Yeah.
with this type of stuff. I never did anything based off social media marketing because I never had social media. I never did any decisions based off what I saw something online. Any transaction, any interaction that I did with was strictly based off word of mouth and referral. If I needed to, I don't know, buy a house, I wouldn't go on Instagram and look for like a real estate agent. I would ask, hey, Arian, who is your real estate agent? What do you think? A to Z. And then I would make a decision based off that. So I came from that perspective of thinking that it's all like, it's all noise. There's no substance to it. What was interesting was when when you made the first video for me, when I first started here, because I had no social media, and thankfully it kind of like picked up, so it kind of went a little bit viral. I had a lot of people from that I had known from decades ago, like reach out to me, and they're like, "Hey, like I'm actually like in the market for a car." And I'll give you a good example. When I was 18, 19 years old, I worked at Rogers at Vaughan Mills. I had helped the family with like some cell phones, and I guess they enjoyed the experience and they enjoyed everything that I provided. So much so where when I had made the video and they saw it, the husband requested to message me, and he was like, "Listen, like for the last 10 years, we've been looking for you to see what business you're in, just so we can give you some business because of like, you know, how you are and everything like that." And ironically, actually, his sister-in-law was in the market for buying a car, and she came and purchased a car from myself in Yorkdale Fine Cars. So I found that very cool. You know, something. You know, it's all about volume with social media that I found. So
That's incredibly about that. I think the first phase is just like building your brand and then like transitioning into like customers and everything that you have. But overall, what do you think? Do you think like more is about ideation, more is about like execution, or more about editing when it comes to like creating content and for social media specifically?
I think there's a lot of bits to it. I think they all play a very equal part. You know, the creativity is important, but at the same time, the execution and editing is also very influential. Especially with nowadays when people have short attention spans. If it's not something that they can pick up right away and catch their interest, that video is not going to be good, as creative as it can be or as much a superstar as it can have. If it just doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. And I'm still personally trying to figure that out myself. You know,
Trying to learn.
yeah, you know, it's this little wave, you know, and sometimes I thought that making the serious videos wouldn't get me too many views, and then it got the most views.
Yeah, out
and
of
then,
all of them.
and then the one that was like, I thought was gonna be super viral and gonna be
Funniest and
super
everything.
like, you know, it barely got like 16,000.
But you learn like after all, like having like multiple videos, you start to learn like how the
Absolutely.
algorithm and everything works. So yeah, that's definitely one thing. But I think in like the next 5 years to 10 years, we'll see like everything going transitioning into like social media. Because right now we're still in the traditional phase, still. But overall, like in the next 5 years,
I think it's in the traditional state, going through the transition where, you know, you're going through these different generations. And that's something that I recently learned, whereas with these videos, you have to have a very diverse brand that clicks on uh, a generic amount of
Generic amount of people,
different
yeah.
generations.
Yeah.
Kind of like you know, a car dealership. You know, you want to have budget-friendly cars, you want to have luxury cars, and you want to have a medium class.
Exactly.
You know, you want to be open to all types of, you know, parts of the
Customers and
generation
everyone,
and
yeah.
society and stuff like that. So with the videos, you know, at times I'll give you like the Johnny Sins video.
Yeah.
I thought that that would be like a hit, and
That would
I
be
thought
like a
that'd
hit.
be so good. But then later on, when I like looked into it, a lot of people couldn't share that video because they
Yeah.
had family members, or, you know, they had like people that they were embarrassed. They had coworkers or their bosses on
Yeah.
Instagram. Two, a lot of people didn't even know who Johnny Sins was. It was a different generation. And three, a lot of people just didn't like that type of joke.
Yeah.
you know. Whereas, and then like the older generation, the older crowd, like more serious
Yeah,
ones.
more serious ones.
A lot of people, you know, we made a video a couple of days ago that you and I thought would be like an amazing hit and an instant hit.
But it didn't go that way.
It didn't go that
Yeah,
well.
it didn't go.
And it's because you only target a very specific
that's true.
generation of people,
That's
you
very
know?
true.
It
Yeah.
doesn't hit all spectrums.
Yeah. But you know, we're like planning other videos as well. So hopefully when this like podcast comes out, I'm going to like share the videos. Lots of great ideas that we're like trying to put together. But other than that, I think that was pretty much for marketing. There is still space for it to grow.
I think, to cut you off, I think one person that, you know, really cracked the code of marketing and really understood the assignment on what to do
Yeah.
is Taylor Swift.
Oh, Taylor Swift.
And I always said that there should be a business course in unis that just studies her marketing.
Yeah.
Because think about it. When I was in elementary school, in grades 7, 8,
Yeah.
she was the biggest superstar. I'm now 28, so almost 17, 18 years later, she's still the number one star. And her genre and her market is those younger high school girls or first year, second year, 18, 19 girls who like either going through their first heartbreak or whatnot, or their first love. And that market will always change. She got older and everyone else
still, like,
but that
dominating.
market's still gonna be always there.
Yeah.
And I think she really cracked the code, and that's why she's been so successful. And she's been
Dominated.
such a dominant for such a like long periods of time.
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, there are like tons of examples out there. One thing I like is like Mr. Beast. Let's take him into account, of course. Like he's making such an impact in the whole marketing space, especially for like lots of businesses. Like he brought like YouTube to life, and we're now like seeing YouTube like changing people's lives. Really, I mean it. And also taking into account like Instagram, TikTok, and everything. And I think there is like this transition happening between businesses where they're like shifting to like the new age of marketing and everything that goes on. But just like put that into aside, let's talk about cars. Because I'm not very knowledgeable into that space, but I'm like surrounded with people that love cars. I've been like into this business for like 3-4 years now, marketing for cars. Just still learning. So how familiar are you with cars specifically and sales?
So sales, I'm very familiar with. Sales has been something, you know, from a very young age. I think I really discovered that I'm not a very intelligent guy in terms of, you know, math or science and stuff like that. For those who went to high school with me, I had the lowest mark in math in the history of my high school. I failed careers. I think I'm the only person who ever failed careers in the entire like history of high school. So when I realized at a very young age that I'm not very intelligent in terms of the school system, I kind of expanded and tried to work on my social skills and, you know, be the best, you know. And I always think that in everything in your day-to-day life, you're always selling yourself. You know, sales is a part of who you are as a person, whether, you know, you're dating, you're selling yourself, whether you're trying to make money, you're selling yourself. Anything that any interaction that you do with another person, you're really selling yourself.
That's true.
So I think that's a very integral part of, you know, and a very integral pillar of today's society.
Actually, I really wanted to emphasize on sales, not cars, really, because I think like sales really covers everything. And since you have like more experience on that, like for example, I have an agency, and in order to like get clients, you need to be good in sales. You want to sell cars, of course, sales, real estate, and it just goes on and on. So I want to really get your like experience because I know like you've been working like like from early on. Like how has it been? How much have you like learned throughout these years? And how has it helped you? Because actually, Amir, in his first month that he came here, he like sold more than 10 cars, which is just like unbelievable for someone who's like new to this business.
Thank you. Again, a part of that is I've been very like supported very well. You know, Ahmad, Sean, you know, all my coworkers.
Which we're gonna try to have them in this podcast as well.
No, we will. They've made my transition very, very smooth. But you know, I feel like, so when it comes to sales, the number one thing that I've really recently come to the conclusion of is the optimization of everything. The more you do something easier and the and something that's so complex. I feel like the best thing to do in, let me reword all of this. A lot of the times people, especially within our age, they want to think about, yo, what's the next best thing that I can do? What's the next problem that I can solve to become rich, or the next thing? I always thought, I'm like, yo, what's a problem that's very complex that you can simplify? The more you can simplify something and optimize the process, that in itself is a selling tool.
Yeah.
Right? We'll use car sales,
Yeah,
for
car sales.
example. Especially used cars, people have the stigma with car sales, with used cars, that all used car sales are shady,
yeah,
and
shady
they're
and scammy.
sketchy, and they're up to no good, and they want to like up for something. It's that. I'm like, you know what? Let me first of all join a brand and a company that believes in the same things that I do, which is putting the customer first, simplifying the process, and making sure that they are in a winning situation, and that they become a repetitive customer. So if, for example, if someone doesn't need gap insurance, I don't even bring it up.
Yeah.
Because again, mathematics doesn't make sense. You know, simple. You don't want to overwhelm the customer. If someone gets overwhelmed, they're gonna be like, like, I'm not gonna do it.
Sure.
Same thing in any aspect. I went from selling construction material to selling cell phones to anything. Simple. The more you simplify something, that's the automatic first selling point. You know, you want to make sure that people feel comfortable, they trust you. You know, a car is a very big purchase.
Yeah, it is. Of course it is.
It's a purchase that often is seen as a liability, a depreciation asset.
Yeah.
So they already have the thought that they're gonna be losing out.
Yeah, that's 100%
So why not make it an experience that they enjoy, and they have a peace of mind that, okay, I made a good decision with a trusted, reliable person from a trusted, reliable dealership.
And that's true. Like, I mean, specifically Yorkdale, it has just had so much impact. Specifically, like online, people like trust it a lot compared to like other dealerships in the whole GTA. And I think that's a very good spot to be in right now.
Absolutely. You know, I'm very blessed that my very first car dealership,
It's here.
it's been at Yorkdale Fine Cars.
Amazing.
You know, it's been something that, you know, I've seen from a young age, from what it was to what it is now, and that is strictly based off, you know, the customer orientation and the customer service, and, you know, making sure genuinely they want to put people in a position to succeed and not really take advantage of them.
Yeah, that's very true.
First and foremost, I really really believe that, you know, and the guys here, you know, they all go above and beyond every day for their customers.
Well, that's amazing. But like in terms of sales, like specifically, I think you have been into like Rogers and selling like phone plans and everything. How much is it different, like in terms of customers and making money, as opposed to like cars? Like how much different it is, like the type of customers you get, the psychology, and everything that like people come by.
It's very similar, but at the same time, it's very different, and it's cool because, so cell phones, for example, I worked at a Rogers umbrella. So when you're at a cell phone carrier like Rogers, you're selling this Rogers service. It's a service that people don't see. People don't see like the calling and the texting and the towers and stuff like that. They just see an iPhone. The iPhone at Rogers is the exact same iPhone as Bell, and it's the same iPhone as Telus, and it's the same iPhone at Wireless Wave and T-Booth and the Apple Store itself.
Yeah.
The plans are all the same. All across the board, on all providers, it's the exact same plans, same pricing, everything like that. And when you're in a mall, all of the providers are all beside each
they're,
other.
like, everywhere.
And then you have and then you have the Wireless Wave and the T-Boost in the middle.
Yeah.
So you're really at that point, you're only selling yourself, because you're not selling Amir's iPhone. You're selling Apple's iPhone.
Exactly.
You're not selling Amir's network. You're selling Rogers' network. That's the exact same. And you're not like, there's not a place of negotiation where you can say, oh, I'm gonna do it for $50. You know, it's just strictly purely of how you make someone feel.
How it is.
Right off the bat, the comfort, the trust, and that's it, right? Everything. Cars are a little bit more different, where the car kind of sells itself.
That's true.
You know, having the right car is one thing. Where, okay, this specific M3 competition with this specific color will always have its own custom. So the car brings in the customer sometimes if it's the right car and if it's a good car. Then doing everything A to Z from getting the customer here is up to you, and how you make that person feel, how comfortable, if it makes sense for them. You know, you don't want to give them the feeling that they're being ripped off. You know, you want to make sure that all of their needs and wants are being heard and being attended to. You know, if they're looking for a family car, you're not gonna offer them like a M3 for it just to sell a car. You know.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that with cars, it's a little bit more easy because the car at a certain point sells itself.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just how you build an experience for them. You know, that's what I realized. Well, what about you?
Well, I mean, I'm new to like this car business. I'm like registered as a salesperson too. But overall for sales, like I've tried to do it with clients, high ticket clients for marketing because I need to go like to these random businesses and pitch my stuff. Overall, I think what I do, because it's like a service-based business, it's not like product that you're selling. The service quality and everything needs to sell for itself, as you mentioned, for like product. Because it's service-based and people like they work in 1 month, and if they don't like it, they just go like they just end their plan with you. But of course, with cars, yeah, the cars like sell for themselves. Like people like the car, they buy it. But for us, like it's a service-based agency, they call it. Really, the work itself is marketing. So I mean, that's what I try to do: make the best quality pieces of content for my clients, in order to get like referrals and just to stand out in the market. Because I think one thing, whether it's for sales or marketing, you got to be like creative, and I think you agree with it too. Like creativity itself is very important, and I really wanted to touch on it because like I see lots of our competitors in the market, like in terms of marketing and social media, where they just like blast content after content, but I try to like myself be creative when it comes to like creating these like unique pieces. And I think you see it with Yorkdale's like page itself, like creating content that is not like copied from other people. And I think that's what really makes us like stand out. And I really want to get your like perspective about it. What do you think about like the creative side?
I think so. For me, I've always been more of a quality over quantity type of person. You know, even like with our videos, the ones that you and I do together, we don't do it like I don't do a video like every day. I do a video once a week, but I try to make it really, you know, I think about it for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
I try to plan it, I try to execute it, I bring it up to you, we talk about it for like a couple of days, and then we execute it. So by nature, I always tend to be as creative as possible and to be as unique as possible. But that's because I feel like both myself, yourself, and the dealership that we work at, by nature, we're kind of trendsetters. We don't really follow, you know, the pattern. We don't really follow, you know, the norm. We try to do stuff differently. We try to, you know, break certain norms, you know, as uncomfortable or challenging as they might be.
100% true.
I feel like we've been blessed with the support and the courage to be able to be trendsetters, I would say. And then I think another thing too is, so by nature, I'm not a very creative person at all. But when it comes to videos, because I have so much trust in the editing,
The execution.
and the execution, because I think that's part of the creativity and the acting part. But because I have so much trust in you when it comes to editing and, you know, being honest about the feedback, and knowing that you're gonna be putting 100% in the whole making of the video, it gives me peace of mind so I can focus on being creative and the execution. But like if I'm gonna be stressed out and worried about the editing or how it's gonna be done, by nature that's gonna take away from my mental space, and I won't be as creative. Or even with the acting, if I'm trying to act and I'm trying to really, like, you know, play a part, but I'm thinking about, oh, how is he gonna edit this? I can't really sell it, you know? So I have been very blessed in that aspect to like start this process and this journey like right away with you, because it's kind of I've kind of been spoiled. Now I get to like pretend like I'm DiCaprio when everything was
No, I mean, like with AI and everything going on right now, which we're gonna talk about it too. I think like creativity really like stands out because everyone like right now, you want to create content for social media. Everyone goes into like ChatGPT. Oh, okay, give me like this script and that, which is kind of being like repetitive. What I see between people, you can just tell like once you like watch a video with from other people, you can see, oh, this is like 100% made by AI, which I think right now in the world, I think if you come up with like a unique piece of perspective on how you write your own scripts and your own ideas, I think you will stand out. And I think if you go and look into one of our videos that blow it up, as I mentioned, like the Sheikh video that we did, and the actors did like very well, great
Phenomenal
job.
acting.
Like Sean and how we'll get them in this podcast as well.
Sean, Ahmed, Armin.
Like none of that video was covered like with AI or anything. It's very hard for a video that is like 1 minute to like go viral on Instagram. Like it's incredibly hard.
Absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
1 minute and 10 seconds. Like I didn't, to be honest, I didn't expect to go that hard. But the way that we came up with the idea, the way that we executed, the way that we scripted it, it was just amazing. Like it just stood out. But as opposed to that, you can go and see like videos on Instagram. Some people just like give it to ChatGPT. Okay, make me like a skit about this and that. Maximum 10K views because people like they know how like AI and everything like sounds. So I think that's very
Again,
important.
it's about, you know, in a world where volume really stands out and everything's about volume, I think the quality and the substance speaks for itself. And I think people are smart enough to realize that. And
Yeah.
one person or one ideology that I always try to mimic is like Christopher Nolan, the director.
Yeah, of course.
He makes a movie like once every 3-4 years, but like they're always hits, and they're always a huge hit that is a success among all members and fans of cinema. Uh, from Oppenheimer to Inception to Interstellar to even like something like the Dark Knight trilogy. So that's someone that I try to be very like thought mindful of when I'm like doing these videos or thinking about social media, because I'm like, I'd rather be the Christopher Nolan where like I make a video or I do something every week or every 2 weeks, but
Then the
it's a
volume.
good video
Yeah, that's
instead
100%
of
true.
having. And and another thing too is that because it attracts a larger a larger
Audience.
audience
Yeah.
of different members of
Yeah, that's
generations and different
100% true.
generations. Whereas
Yeah.
like if you have a specific thing, you're gonna only attract that type of,
Yeah.
the generation or only specific members of society.
Well, I mean, like, of course, as you mentioned, quality over quantity wins. But there are like some cases where like quantity over quality is good. For example, when we like started Yorkdale's page like back 2 years ago, it was more about like quantity because we wanted to like get the reach of audience and everything. But nowadays we just realize with my other clients that I have is the idea. And you mentioned like idea really is important. You have a great idea and you blow up, you can just like cover for the 100 videos that you made, which I think is just what makes the world of social media great today.
Yeah, but at the same time too, I feel like the perfect balance is to be able to execute
Yeah, of course.
quickly and efficiently on maybe like every like 2-3 days, like, and I'm trying to get into that where every 2-3 days I post something, and then once a week I post a video. That's one thing that I'm trying to do better, is because with these algorithms, with whether it's Facebook or Instagram or whatever, or Twitter, it's a combination of different things that helps you become successful in having that video go viral or something like that. Like, for example, I feel like a lot of the work that you and I did and a lot of the work that you and Sean did with a lot of the videos helped set up that stage for the Sheikh video to really
Oh yeah,
go.
of course,
Because it had
100%.
4 or 5 videos that were bangers, that had some reach. It probably brought another like 100,000 views.
Yeah.
And then it was like that pedestal to snap, to like really project it,
Yeah, that's true.
Same thing with my own stuff. Like, for example, I should be doing it to gain more followers, maybe posting every couple of days, and then once a week I post a video to bring my followers more. But it's one of those things where you learn as you go.
Yeah, that's true. So putting that aside, I think we forgot to talk about cars, which I really wanted to emphasize on that note too. What do you think is the most popular car that like you get a lot of customers on? Because I think we have like over 200 cars here at Yorkdale. What is it that some people like with this economy in Canada and everything going on? What is it a car that people are like coming a lot for? Whether is it a sedan or is it SUV? Or like which make and model is it that you think is like
I think
it's getting a lot of attention?
I think what I've it's a good question. It's a very good question because you can see so many different patterns and so many trajectories of certain stuff. You can see like a very specific age group of guys between like 18 to 20 to 23. They're gonna be always looking at 3 Series and 340s, or the occasional C300. And then and then you see like the new family man who's gonna start to have a kid, something like that. They're looking at more like GLEs, the X5s, the Model Ys, something that kind of makes sense for them. And then you have your occasional customers who have a preference based off solely, their own uh, their own preferences. But to answer your question directly, I found Teslas really.
Teslas. Yeah, which I really wanted to talk
Oh yeah,
about that
they
as
really
well.
sell themselves. They really they have their own audience. They have their own target. If someone likes a Tesla, they like a Tesla. Someone who is in for a Tesla, you can never come and try to convince them to get an X5. As someone who is looking to get an
Absolutely.
X5, you can never push them into a Tesla. Someone who's a Tesla fan is a Tesla fan, and having the right Tesla at a fair price that has the perks of the warranty still with it, uh, the battery warranty, and having the clean Carfax and stuff, and the color really sells itself at that point. It's just you just trying to present the car to them in a good manner. But yeah, the Teslas really do definitely sell themselves
Yeah.
because most of the people who do look at Teslas, they're already studied immensely about them.
Yeah. Which I really wanted to talk about them because I see the valuation of Tesla as a company, which is like increasing every single day. Like you can go and see it from Elon's net worth. He has lots of shares in Tesla, which I follow. I actually have some shares in Tesla, which I follow every day. But yeah, I think the one that you mentioned, lots of people like transitioning into Teslas. But on the other side note, I think it's getting a lot of hate for everything because it's too simple. People are saying it's cheap, it's low quality. But I understand. But as a side note, you're also getting an electric EV that has lots of features. It's saving you on gas and everything that just goes on and on with it. Fun fact, I actually wanted to tell you that Tesla, I read, is actually not a car company. It's an information-based company, which like collects data to have it for its AI stuff that it
In that
does.
one clip with Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary, probably yes.
So Kevin O'Leary's son works at Tesla.
Yeah.
And Kevin O'Leary he makes most of his money based shorting stocks.
Shorting stocks.
And he was like, oh, like his son, he was telling this story where his son's like, dad, you should really like invest in like Tesla. And he goes, oh, you dumb son, like I want to like short the stock so bad, like it's so overhyped, like this, that. And then his son was like, listen, like we're an information company. We're not a vehicle manufacturing company. That's the side. From the second that you get into your car, it tracks every single piece of information. And that's what's so valuable about Tesla. Now, going back to your last question, because it's kind of a two-pointer.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've really tried to do that helps me be successful in the car business is really understanding what someone wants in a car.
Yeah.
And knowing what they want is helps you circle on a car that they want. Someone who's looking for a Tesla, obviously, or if someone, for example, wants a lot of buttons and they want a lot of like a lot of like clutter and like a lot of detail going on, they're never gonna like a Tesla because that's not what Tesla is. Tesla's a very minimalistic car. It's very efficient. It's supposed to be all about optimization process, and it's supposed to be about the objective,
Yeah,
not
people who are like in tech
not
more.
not the quality or the experience. It's supposed to be about, you know, how cool, how efficient you can do it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, you can't, like, if you're like a big leather fan and you're, you know,
You can't.
you're not gonna like it, you know, like you have to be very, like, honest with yourself. And same thing with, you know, vice versa. If someone who likes minimalistic stuff, they can't go sit in a Porsche Panamera with like 50,000 buttons and think, you know, like, oh wow, like what a sick transition.
Actually, I mean, I saw Joe Rogan's podcast with Elon. He was saying that he's gonna come up with a roadster that is gonna fly, which is crazy. He was like saying he's gonna unveil it in 2025, but he's not doing it, I think. But overall, yeah, with like Teslas, I think he's like introducing robots as well. So I think this whole point of having us like having these autopilots and everything is just for the car to learn information. So in the future, it can have like its robot taxis and everything, so it knows the road. And it's the best tool, of course.
I think the reason why people don't like EVs or Teslas and stuff like that, I think there's a couple of different. Number one, people don't like they don't like things that they're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
Or they're not very too knowledgeable about, you know. People think that Teslas are like a robots, and no,
surveillance.
it's, you know, it's still a car first and
Yeah.
foremost, you know. And, you know, eventually, sooner than later, the world will dictate
Yeah,
and go towards
100%,
that.
100%.
Now, Tesla has been able to optimize and make the best EVs in the Western Hemisphere up to now, compared to the other brands. But that's a different argument for a different time. But I'm very interested to see, you know, have you ever heard of the Chinese electric company?
BYD?
Yes,
Oh yeah,
yes,
they're
yes.
like amazing.
Yeah, they're amazing, and, you know, if they ever get the chance to enter
They'll dominate North American market.
the Western Hemisphere, so I'm of the mindset where I always like competition,
Yeah.
because by nature I like to strive and to match your level and to do better. So I hope, if that's the case, then Tesla starts making better cars and addressing the things that people, you know, have concerns about that. But again, people who buy Teslas, especially Model 3 and Model Ys, you're getting a very good car
Of course.
that's very efficient for a very reasonable price.
Yeah.
And you're saving X, Y, and Z on gas.
Yeah, like we have like Teslas right now over here. Model 3 is selling for 20 something, which is like compared to 3 years ago, we had a Model 3 here. We were selling for like 80K, but it just shows that like they're getting much cheaper.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. But I want to really touch on BYD because this Chinese company, if I'm spelling it right, I heard like the prices are much lower, and I think if they bring it to the North American market, it will like dominate in terms of cars. Because like who wants to pay like 12K for an EV as opposed for like Teslas, which are like 30 grand? It's just more logical,
I
right?
saw a clip yesterday or the day before that where BYD had a dealership in Germany. And almost they had like a 300 unit lot.
Wow.
All 300 cars were sold.
Yeah, you see?
In Germany.
In Germany.
Home of
The German cars,
BMW,
Mercedes, BMW is over here.
Mercedes Daimler, Porsche, Lamborghini, Audi. So that was very cool to see it. Very cool to see it. And again, it's one of those things where, you know, sooner than later, it's not just a trend.
Yeah,
but
it will get replaced.
Yeah, it's not a trend, but it's the sort of a transition.
Yeah.
Of, you know, you see a lot of countries in the Gulf that are transitioning to renewable energy, and, you know, they're trying to get away from having oil as their main source of revenue. You know, with Vision 2030, both in Saudi Arabia and the UAE, Qatar. So I think you're gonna see a lot more of these transitions that be.
Fun fact: I was in Dubai like last year, and they had a model, Tesla Model 3 2024, which wasn't here actually. It was the first time that I saw it over there. I saw a bunch of Teslas. Like I don't know how, but like there were much more volume of Teslas in Dubai than opposed to here, which is like the North American market of Teslas. So I think over there they're like shifting more to this world of EVs because they want to get adapted to the future, as opposed to North America, which is like it's just more bureaucratic with the laws and everything.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, a lot of these Gulf countries, they have Vision 2030 or
Yeah,
Vision
Vision 30.
2040, where essentially, so like Saudi Arabia is like the main global stone
Well, yeah.
cornerstone of these projects where oil for the last 50, 60, 70, 100 years has been their main source of revenue for the country. And by 2030, the goal is to bring oil from the number one source of revenue to the last source of revenue. So they're trying to diversify their economy.
Yeah, and I love it.
Yeah, diversify their infrastructure as much as possible. Start so many different
Sectors of like economy.
sectors of economy that will have an influence in the next future generations and decades and stuff like that.
And actually, like marketing plays a big role because like Vision 2030 that you touched on, I'm actually like following it along.
Oh yeah,
Because I think like Saudi Arabia specifically is going to be like a very major player in terms of tech AI. So many investments that are going into AI, which we're going to cover in terms of tech and AI. And there, you can just like see with entertainment, sports, Ronaldo, of course. And they actually brought like Mr. Beast for their videos. And it just shows that they want the attention. Attention is going to Saudi because they have the money, of course. And actually, Mr. Beast opened a Beast Land. It's like a Wonderland over here. And it just like
I
showed,
didn't know that. That's so cool.
yeah, they're like investing money into these creators, into like the big players of the Gen Z because they want them in their country to like boost the country up.
So it's very interesting. So for those who don't know, I'm a very big history nerd.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm a very big I love history and I love reading about history. And every couple of months I'll like circle on in a geographical area in the world and I just like read about like that.
Yeah.
And you know, at times a lot more often than not, I circle around the Gulf area in a lot of these Arabic countries. And I just find it so interesting, and there's a lot more, and you know, just like how I think that the rise and the consistency and the longevity of Tillerson should be studied,
Yeah.
the progress and the development and how solid the development has been in these Arabic Gulf countries should be like studied because a lot of these Arabic, for example, the UAE. UAE was first got created in 1971.
Wow.
So it's been like not even 60 years, and they've developed massively.
Everyone's like trying to move to Dubai right now.
Massively.
Yeah.
Now Dubai is one island or
No, it's not an island. It's like a
it's an emirate. It's
Yeah,
an
it's an
emirate.
emirate. It's an emirate.
Yeah. So the UAE is a combination of 7 emirates.
Yeah.
And these emirates you can consider little islands. There's 7 of these islands.
Yeah.
Dubai is the second largest and the second wealthiest one from Abu Dhabi. But again, all countries is like Canada has oil.
Yeah.
Canada has natural resources. Most of those countries in that Gulf area has natural resources, has oil. But the fact that you've been able to sell your oil this consistently
Yeah.
for this many years and been able to have so much profit, cash flow that you are at a point where you want to be a trendsetter
Yeah.
and diversify your economy should be studied.
Yeah, definitely.
And people often don't know this, or they think that just it's those couple of countries who has oil. Canada has the 3rd or the 4th largest oil reserve in the world. And part of our, so I won't cross too many sections, but maybe in the 1970s and even a little bit earlier, the same time when the UAE became a country, yes, and a lot of these Gulf countries started exporting oil, Canada's government and leadership came to a realization that having refineries in Canada is too expensive and it won't be profitable and productive for a country. Now, what refineries are is essentially it turns in crude oil into the gas that we pump in our cars. So we have all of this oil and we can't even use it.
Yeah.
So as part of our agreement with Mexico and the United States, whether you want to call it NAFTA or CUSMA, is that we sell the United States crude oil for like $60 a gallon, just for example.
Yeah.
And then the USA refines that crude oil into gas for us and then sells it back to us for $90 a gallon.
Oh.
So just that one decision 60, 70 years ago by our Canadian leadership set us behind in so many other aspects. And you know, that's one thing that I really give like credit where it's due. A lot of these Gulf countries, they take immense decisions, and so far all of them have hit.
Yeah.
You know, something as so minuscule as like the World Cup. And sorry, we're getting off topic, but
No, actually, like it's amazing. I love this.
the 2022 World Cup in Qatar,
Yeah.
best World Cup
Ever.
ever.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be like controversial people who are gonna like comment, "Oh no, it's
And no, in terms of sports quality, best.
best." Yeah.
Goals, amazing. The best final anyone's ever seen. I'm a huge soccer guy. I have like watched soccer since the day I was born. You know, I like read everything about it. That was the best World Cup.
Yeah, it was.
In terms of presentation, and you know, something
yeah.
so small as banning beer in the stadiums.
Yeah.
Where people thought, oh, it's not gonna be the same World Cup, this, that. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was just perfect. Yeah.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact that you invested so much money in building all those stadiums and you executed so well. Now watch this summer.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a disaster.
This World
It's
Cup,
gonna
yeah.
be a disaster. It's gonna be a disaster. And that just speaks volume of how the execution
So much drama.
and decision making really makes a difference, you know, in running a country.
Yeah. So yeah, but again, that Vision 2030, we're gonna try to have one whole podcast about it because it's like it's a bunch of stuff, lots of stuff that they're doing, and I loved like because I'm a huge fan of the golf, and I try to go there and in the future, but we'll see. I want to
They're also a big hitters in AI too.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Billions and billions of dollars that they did, actually trillions actually, that they're investing into the US and to build like infrastructures in the Saudi. Um, Lots of big players. We have actually the prince actually went to the US, MBS. He went to Washington, I think like a month ago, and he actually gave like $500 billion more to Donald Trump to secure like this investment agreement that they have with AI and everything. So, and actually, if you ask like ChatGPT and these AI models to predict like the big players in AI in the next 10 years, it's saying Saudi is one of them, like the top three, with along with China and the US, which are like dominating. Which I really wanted to like go into this tech and AI world, but let's take a break and we'll be back.
Sure.
So after an hour of break, we had tons of customers come in and everything that we do. We had to take the break.
Money
Sorry
comes
about that,
first.
guys. Yeah, money comes
You're
first.
gonna donate some money to us, you know.
Yeah, donate.
Should we should like do like a GoFundMe under it.
Yeah, we have to do like a GoFundMe for us or like donations. So where were we? We talked about a bunch of topics regarding cars and everything.
AI.
Yeah, let's turn into more serious topics. I really wanted to.
Do you want to make it intimate and personal? Or do you
No,
want
no,
to,
no,
do
I
you
don't
wanna-
want that. So let's get into tech. How familiar are you with tech? Like
Not
technology?
familiar at all.
Yeah, I really didn't want to get that much detailed into it.
Yeah, not familiar at all.
I get it.
I've been a very I'm very like old school in that sense, you know, like even in any I'm just not very like into that world, you know.
Into that world.
And again, it's a lot of it is because I'm not as knowledgeable,
Yeah.
and I don't understand the benefits of having that and having those tools work for me.
Yeah.
But it's something that I'll always have to have in mind, open mind to.
Yeah, of course. I don't really want to go like very specific detail, like everyday usage of tech and everything that you do, because you know I interact with tech every day. I try to create like products, software applications. You know, you're familiar with those stuff more often, so I want to get your perspective, and of course, once we get other individuals as well, so we can like ramp it up. How much do you know like about tech in general, like with AI and everything that's going on right now, and how much do you like use it in your job? Like for example, in the car business that you do, how much do you use like AI and technology?
Those are good questions. Me personally itself, I don't use a whole lot. I don't use much AI. You know, again, these are all things that I'm not very familiar with. So it's like a brand new baby coming into this, you know, industry, and I'm just trying to grasp everything. And then again, now, if I was knowledgeable in AI or tech and stuff like that, I would have probably been able to identify aspects where I could have used AI technology to better improvise the situation. But again, I have no knowledge whatsoever.
knowledge
Like
about
I don't even like use like the proper cameras on my phone, on my iPhone. It's just like
So you
super
don't go
minimal.
that much into tech.
Absolutely not.
No, not into
No,
tech.
no, no, no.
Yeah. So I mean, like, yeah, of course, with technology and everything, it's just like generations after generations. Even if I bring like other individuals, they're not might be that much familiar with tech. Some people don't even like it, to be honest. They don't want to come into this transition of the world changing and everything, robots and AI. Do you like the transition of how the world is like heading, or no? Like with everything, we're going to this like futuristic world of robots and AI within like the 10, 15 years that we cannot even like predict.
That's a very multi-layered question. It's a very good question. I'm a firm believer where everything and anything
Yeah.
can be used for two different reasons and two different alternatives. Instagram, social media, all these type of stuff. I feel like people can either use them to better improve themselves in all aspects. You know, if you don't know how to dress, or you don't know anything about a car, or you want to work on a specific skill set or language, you can use social media, Instagram, YouTube to improve those and to be better at that. Or you can take the negative side of it and, you know, you can start to be envious, jealousy, comparison, hatred, be a keyboard warrior, you know? So it gives you the tools and gives you the path to go both ways. I have that same ideology when it comes to AI, the robotics, and the future vision of our society, where I hope we're able to use those tools to better improve our society and to make sure that, you know, as a whole, our humanity is going towards a better level using those tools. You know, I think till now, for the most part, humans have been able to use social media and internet and the new wave of technology for the better.
For the better.
You know, the advancement in technology, the advancements in quality of life, the advancements in efficiencies and stuff like that. And it minimizes the scale of corruption and avoids that scale of corruption. So I would hope.
So you would hope.
So I would hope. Yeah.
Yeah, I would hope.
Yeah.
But to be honest, like I can't like as someone who's like generally like is very interested into tech, I can't predict like the next 10 years what is going to happen with everything. Like for example, people don't understand the magnitude of what's really coming. Even with like AI and tech, I'm for sure like I believe in the next 10 years it's going to impact this like these type of businesses as well, even like local ones. Any type of business that people think, "Oh, it's not going to like impact my business." Like for example, even like supermarkets. But this technology I think that we're like seeing is for sure going to go into people's businesses.
I think my biggest thought and my most important thought is, yes, I do agree with you that it's going to have a monumental change and it's going to have a very influential change. But I think that because of the barriers in different infrastructure and the willingness and the openness to adapt to those and to break those barriers will restrict. You know, I'll give you a very good example. You know, like in the 1960s, 70s, they thought that in 2026 they're gonna have flying cars. They're gonna think like we're like this futuristic society. But we're far from that. We still have cars with wheels and stuff like that. We still have so many different problems. You know, there's so many barriers in every sector and so much things that hold back that development that you and I don't see. And I think that's something to factor in when you predict the next 10, 15 years and the influence of AI.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, so I like to be mindful of that.
Mindful of that. Yeah, that's good. So as for tech, you said that you're a soccer fan, huge soccer fan. I really wanted to transition into sports because we cover like a lot of different topics. I really wanted to get into sports. Lots of things happening in this year and just happened like these few days with the fights that went on. I think you're a huge fight fan. I think.
I'm not a huge
You're not
fight
a
fan.
fight fan?
No.
Okay.
I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Not a fighter. Yeah, right. So, but you know, like what has happened, like in the last few days, and everything's going on. So, I really wanted to start with this, and then like talk about the World Cup that you covered, the sports and everything that's happening around the world.
Cool.
But to start out, what's your favorite sport?
I would say by nature, I'm a very big soccer guy, and that's because of my roots, my family, my Persian culture, and then, basketball. So anything that really represents a part of, I'm not the biggest hockey guy, but, whenever the Toronto Maple Leafs play, I do enjoy, watching them, and it's at the end of the day, it's the team of my city, so I'm gonna support the city from where I'm from. Uh, Now, I'm gonna put it into drive, and I'm gonna accelerate this conversation. I'm gonna kind of expand it to something that you're gonna like.
Yep.
So we didn't. I felt like we didn't finish our conversation on AI.
Oh yeah, you want to get into that? I love it.
So AI, I feel like one part that we can really use AI to better our environment, our society, is to minimize our waste, minimize our fraud, and minimize our
Corruption and everything going on.
corruption. For example, in Albania, I don't know if you heard,
Yeah.
they've appointed the first ever
AI president.
AI minister.
Oh, minister. Yeah,
So
sorry.
the AI minister is the Ministry of Waste and Fraud that does quality assurance on all spectrums of the government to make sure that, for example, there's not excessive government waste and fraud and resource that goes to waste. It's something similar to what Elon Musk wanted to do with the Department of Efficiency.
But he stopped it, of course.
The AI way. I can go into a whole 5 other episodes about that, but let's just so with AI, I think you're definitely gonna hopefully be able to use it to to avoid wastefulness, prevent all that type of stuff. Now going into sports, I've always been a big believer that how you always have that conversation with older generations. I think that their players of their time are the best players.
Yes.
For example, like Pele, Maradona, people think that they're better than Ronaldo and Messi.
Yeah.
In my opinion, with how advanced technology gets, how advanced sports gets, the new generation are always going to be more skillful, more talented, more physically more capable. Now with AI, I feel like it's going to even advance it even more. We're going to see players, back in the day, if players tore their ACL, their career would have been over.
Oh yeah.
Now players tear their ACLs, they're back in 7 months, and they're better than ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very interesting that you touch on this topic of sports and AI. I think within the next 5 years, we're gonna see more personalized health, which is really incredible with AI systems monitoring every player, monitoring their health and everything. So I think that will be good, personalized for players, so they can level up their skills a lot more and be able to tune even the smallest things that they're holding them back. So I think that will be pretty good in terms of AI and tech. Lots of things happening in tech, of course. We can have a whole podcast on AI and tech. I'm a huge enthusiast, of course, but I try to keep it on all sort of topics. And sports, what do you think of the World Cup?
The World Cup in 2026?
Yeah.
I think I want to be optimistic and think it's going to be a very good World Cup.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm going to be honest and think that it's going to be it's going to be an example of why sports and corruption and money had such a bad negative influence.
Right.
Something very example that hits away from home. The BMO field. The BMO field is owned by the city of Toronto, but it rents it out to the Rogers Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment Group.
Yeah.
The Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment Group owns all of the sports teams across Toronto. So from the Argonauts, Blue Jays, Raptors, Maple Leafs.
All of them.
Yeah. And then they rent the stadium. They own percentage of the stadium, but they rent the rest from the city of Toronto.
Yeah.
For this World Cup, they have asked the city of Toronto and the taxpayers of Toronto, and for those who are up to date, the city of Toronto has a budget issue, where they spend a lot more than they spend a lot more than they make.
Yeah, they make a lot.
Now, the difference in different politics with the credit agencies is provincial government and federal government can take on loans, can take on debt.
Yeah.
A city cannot. City has to always have balanced books. A city can never have deficits, and if they do have deficits, they have to get bailed out by the provincial government and the federal government.
Oh, I see.
So, for example, if the city of Toronto has like a $200 million shortfall, they have to either sell their assets or get money from the provincial government or the federal government in some sort of negotiation, some sort of relationship like that. So currently the city of Toronto has a budget issue for the last couple of years since back from COVID, because the consequences of the pandemic. Now, the city of Toronto is on the hook for the renovations of the BMO Stadium. Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment has asked the city of Toronto to pay for the renovations of the BMO field in full, but the only people who are going to get the profits of the tickets is Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment.
Oh, I see.
So indirectly, that's one example that you see right here at home, when this big multi-billion-dollar company is really penny pinching, they're trying to cheat their way and getting taxpayers to spend money on a stadium for another multi-billion-dollar company to enjoy the full profits, you know? Tickets should not be that expensive right off the bat. You know, you're gonna see a lot of logistics issues. You're gonna see a whole lot of. I think it's gonna be a mess. Kind of something similar to, you know, when that new stadium got built, Downsview, with the whole Coldplay concert, and everything.
No,
and all
I
the
don't remember that one.
So there's a new Downsview concert. Near Yorkdale. It's called the Rogers Arena now.
Oh,
and it's an outdoor stadium, from my understanding.
Yeah.
And they just did like a quick, like Rogers asked the city of Toronto to do a quick renovation, and then they're enjoying all the benefits, and there's just this big like scandal with like taxpayer waste and stuff like that. So,
well, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I don't think there are like tons of games played in Canada, and the ticket prices. Oh, but I heard like the ticket prices they're trying to like reduce it.
Listen, right off the bat, I'm not saying that this World Cup. So this World Cup is a sort of a lot of different things. It's the first World Cup that's added 12 different teams. For the last like 70, 80 years, since like 1940s, right after World War II, World Cups have always been 32 teams. This is the first time that there's going to be 48 teams.
Wow,
so there's 12 teams more. 12 teams more, that means 12 new markets to expand in 3 different continents. So your reach is going to be more, which is going to be good for the game. However, for you to, and it's the first time a World Cup is being hosted in 3 different countries.
Yeah, 3 countries. That's
so
insane.
now you have a World Cup that's being hosted in 3 different countries and is being welcomed by 12 new teams. So you have a World Cup that's first of a lot of stuff. You know, now you have the first and second team that's automatically moving on, but now you also have a 3rd place playoff berth.
Yeah.
That's going to be even more confusing for the fan, because you don't even know who's going to make it the next round until the day of, when the games are then done based off goal differences and goals against and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm scared that it's going to take away from the simplicity of the game.
Yeah, the simplicity.
Well, but we'll see. Again, in a perfect world, I would have liked that they introduced something new every World Cup.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, they introduced 12 teams this year. The next World Cup, they would have done 3 different countries. Then, you know, this way, it's
not all at once.
It's all too much.
Yeah, it's just too much.
It's all too much for like the common viewer to handle.
And I think that, like, the next ones are like the next one is in like Morocco, Spain, and somewhere else. And the one after, or Argentina, I believe. So it's like a bunch of countries like happening.
So the next one is gonna be, it's like the 100th year anniversary of the World Cup, and it's gonna be hosted in the very first place that the World Cup ever happened, in Uruguay, Argentina, and Chile, and then it's gonna transition into Spain,
and Morocco,
and Portugal.
Wow.
And they're all beside each other, right?
Yeah.
They're like,
well, that's insane. But I know like the one after that, it's going to be Saudi. So
Saudi, yes, and in
2034.
2034, yes.
That one is going to be nice to look at.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the 2030s.
Um,
They want to build it and like top it in Qatar. But that's good. So I mean, sports and everything happening. Did you see the fight this week that happened between Logan Paul? Did you see how much money they made?
I saw that there was two fights. One was the Jake Paul fight,
Yeah, that one.
and then there was the Andrew Tate
Andrew
fight.
Tate. Yeah, he lost.
Yeah.
Both of them lost.
Yeah, which it was given. The Jake Paul, I understand both sides. So a lot of
Yeah.
people who bet on Jake Paul, they're like, "Yo, it's Jake Paul. He's gonna obviously pay the
Yeah.
other fighter to win." I guess this wasn't the case with Anthony Joshua. So a lot of kids did lose money on that. But Anthony Joshua, I think, was like 6, 7 inches taller than Jake Paul, 7 inches long, like a longer reach than Jake Paul. So in a street fight, it's a no-brainer. The Andrew Tate fight, I heard
got
it was
destroyed.
Yeah, the Andrew Tate fight, I heard it was shit.
Yeah, he got destroyed by nobody. I heard like he got destroyed by no. I don't know the guy who even like the guy was.
Chase Andrews or whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, but the caption in Instagram was like, "Tate got destroyed by nobody," and he got like humbled. But yeah, lots of money going into this business. Like it's insane. Like as reference for tennis, like I'm a huge tennis fan that I play. One event that like a guy plays, like I think it's in Saudi. That it's like the biggest, most money into it game of the year, other than the Grand Slams. Do you know what Grand Slams are for tennis? I think if the player wins that one, it's like 2 to 3 million USD if they like to win that, and that's for like guys, I think. But for the one that is held in like Saudi, it's like 6 million tops for that first guy to win, or even it can go more. But $100 million for Jake Paul for a fight, just like next level. Even like the soccer players.
So, very cool that you say that.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, let's confirm, what time is it?
Time is 3 p.m. right now.
Okay, cool. So, let's close off on this topic. And this is a very important topic that I
Yeah.
think you would really like.
Yeah, sure.
During the 2024 election, when it was between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump,
Yeah.
I had a prediction that whoever is able to go on more podcasts
Yeah.
and is able to control that demographic will win the election. And
Trump was the best.
the podcasters will influence the next sitting president of the United States.
He was
And I-
very smart.
And I think that speaks volume on a few things. First of all, Donald Trump's decision to go on Joe Rogan, to go on Aiden Ross,
Logan's Paul podcast.
to go on Logan Paul, I didn't even know that, to all this other stuff, really made him connect with the new generation of
Yeah.
voters who might or might not agree with his policy or his ideology, but because of the relation,
Yeah.
they voted for him.
Yeah, that's true.
The second thing that I think is very interesting in today's generation and today's viewership is the fact that streaming companies like Netflix are now broadcasting live shows
Yeah.
and live fights like the boxing. And I find that so interesting and so influential.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's incredible. Do you have any questions for me that you might want to ask? Like,
So what is your, well, first of all, what was your decision on making a podcast?
well, to be honest, like I've been involved with like YouTube ever since I was like 12 years old. Like I started filming with my phone and everything. I've been into this marketing space for like 4 years now. And I thought I have this much experience, even like 4 years, which is just like tiny, 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 right? But I think like, and also getting like experiences from other guys to learn other stuff from other people, such as you and other individuals, can help me in this journey as well. Because I'm still learning, and I want to share my experience with other people as well. But of course, I think it's just a good platform for us to think. Of course, I'm more like an introvert, and I think this like podcast can help me specifically to be able to connect with people and be able to have a conversation with other people as well that are like greater mind than me, and also share with other people that are home and watching right now. To spend the time and just to learn stuff really, because I think I like learning, and I think if other people watching right now love learning as well. So I think that was the main reason. And yeah, I think it's incredible that we're doing a podcast.
All right, my man. So that wraps our first ever episode of our podcast together. In the next couple of weeks, we're gonna have some great guests, guests that will be very much a lesson and interesting experience, but also gonna be guests with an amazing sense of humor. So, videos. So
Definitely check out Yorkdale's page, guys.
Yeah.
And Amir's page. And that should be all for us, I think.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah,
Make sure
yeah.
you hit the subscribe, guys.
Very
Thank
good
you
first
very much.
episode, my man. Thank you.